Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So just recently, the young man by the name of Michael Rainey Jr., who is the star of the Book of Power series with the son of Ghost, if you will, took to the internet because there was a video, which I will not play on this channel, where he was, I guess, hanging out with some individuals. There was a young girl that was with him, and she basically reached over and grabbed him inappropriately without his consent. And it shook him, it, disturbed him, and he was speaking out about it. Sadly, the video has been circulating a lot. Of course, it's evidence, but I don't know anybody who wants a video of them being assaulted, because that's what that was, assault, being circulated for people to see. Like I said, he was speaking out about it, and he did acknowledge the fact that if this had been a woman and a man had grabbed her inappropriately, the responses would be very, very different. And as I have said before on this channel, that is the double standard from hell. One of the double standards from hell, if you will, that runs amok within our society, within our community. He was saying that he couldn't take it lightly, and he wasn't going to, once again, because if it had been him doing that to her, his career would be over. People were pointing that out. He would no longer be a part of the Book of Power, whatever it's called, series. End of career, everybody would be throwing him under the bus. Some people were saying that he should press charges, and I agree with that, because once again, as I've spoke of on this channel, consent goes both ways. Consent involves both men and women. It's for both men and women. Now, this brings up the topic once again of whenever men are sexually assaulted. It is a conversation that we do need to have more often. This is the month of men's mental awareness. But even if it wasn't, we'd still need to have this conversation more. And one sad thing about this is, once again, the lack of unity within the community. People, were acknowledging, a lot of women were acknowledging, because people love to say, that women don't acknowledge when men are assaulted. And I hate it when people use these situations to try and get their prideful lick back, if you will, because something happened to them or they feel like they're not heard. So whenever something like this happens, they have to try and make this blanket statement and say, oh, nobody ever does X, Y, Z, when that is blatantly not the truth. Or they try to cause more confusion and arguments by complaining about spaces that are not made. And I've acknowledged on this channel that they don't have a lot of spaces out there for people going through certain things, especially when it comes to men and stuff like sexual assault. But people have to start making their own spaces. You cannot complain about what you're not helping. You can't complain about a problem you're not creating a solution for. One prime example is this channel. I've said before, part of the reason why my channel exists is to talk about things that need to be talked about, that need to be addressed, that a lot of people don't even want to touch the subject of. So instead of complaining about, oh, why aren't there more spaces to talk about this particular issue, I talk about it on my channel. I help solve that problem by being somebody who talks about that particular issue. Like this one. Men who have been sexually assaulted. We understand that it's a problem, assault, the R word, harassment. It happens a lot to women, but that doesn't mean that there are no male victims. There are no men victims, because that's not the truth. There are more than what we know, is what I believe. There are way more men victims than what we may think. Although, again, just because usually in these situations, the woman or a woman is a victim, that does not mean that there aren't men victims as well, young men victims. And we do need to talk about it more. Another thing we need to talk about while we're at it concerning this subject is 50 Cent showing y'all his true colors. I done said before on this channel, I thought it was absolutely disgusting, the pedestal that black people, both black men and women, put that man on. Like this man is some kind of hero or savior of the community because he made a few nostalgic songs and painted him out to be some person that he's not, that he's never been. I've said before, all you really have to do is pay attention, use some kind of intuition and wisdom. Literally just pay attention and use the brain that God gave you, and you will see these people for who they are before they really even show you, for real, for real. Now, some of you might be asking, why in the world did I drag 50 Cent into this? What he had to do with this? Well, quite frankly, I dragged him into this because, as this young woman said, he was one of the first people who came out and basically tried to make it seem like nothing had happened to that young man. And I quote, "The fact that 50 Cent came out and said Michael Rainey, Tariq from Power, was not sexually assaulted and that he's fine when he clearly felt uncomfortable and immediately left when that girl touched him in his private parts is part of the problem in today's society. Women can be predators too. Women can sexually assault others as well, and women need to be held accountable. If he did that to her, his whole life and career would be up in flames. We have to protect our young black men too." Once again, I agree with that entire statement, pointing out the facts. She also included, if you will, the alleged post, and I have to say alleged, that he posted that she was talking about, where he basically spoke on this young man's behalf and said that, and I quote, "he's fine," and I quote, "was an aggressive advance, not," and I quote, "sexual assault." Allegedly, after some backlash that happened real fast, because look at how many people actually liked this post. First of all, let's draw some attention to that. The sickos that liked this post and agreed with him. But after some real quick backlash, allegedly, he took it down. And this is another part of the issue concerning black people that, quite frankly, pisses me off. You'll have people taking to the internet in droves talking about how women don't take men's sexual assault seriously. But you have this celebrity who is a man who tried to speak on the behalf of another young man who wasn't feeling what he was feeling in that moment, who didn't go through what he went through, and then minimize what that young man went through. This is another issue, like I said, that we have here, telling other people what they do and don't do concerning certain issues. It's like what everybody has been talking about before whenever we bring up this issue. Why are y'all talking about women not creating spaces or not acknowledging what has happened, even though that is not the truth? Once again, the proof is that that woman was the one who called attention to that post that he made, when there are other men who are out here minimizing the assaults of other men. That's an issue in and of itself that needs to be addressed by men and needs to be rectified. And the reason why I brought that up is because I'm going to address every layer that I can think of that exists concerning this situation. And because, once again, it needs to be pointed out that one of the main issues is other men who are minimalizing the pain of men going through these situations. Like the person in this post right here, because I believe in calling people out for crazy mess, for stupidity, for perversion, for stuff that's not right. I believe in telling the truth and shaming the devil. This person really tried to make it seem like the world is weak and that men can't be sexually assaulted by women. The devil is a liar. It can happen. It unfortunately has happened many times. Another thing that needs to be rectified, especially concerning our raggedy behind community, is the responses when it comes to this stuff. Whenever she pointed out what he said, the response that he had concerning somebody else's traumatic event, this is how some of these people responded. Y'all are seeing this correctly. So that's what you took from 50's post, him saying he wasn't sexually assaulted. You just looking for trouble. Again, this is another issue. This is another layer of the issue. So when a woman does point it out, now she's looking for trouble. You see how ridiculous this is? Once again, the lack of unity, the ignorance, the stupidity. Another person pointed out what I've been pointing out on this channel, how hypnotized these people are for these celebrities, how far they've placed them on a pedestal, that when somebody has gone through something that's serious, they'll still cap and put a cape on for the celebrity instead of the person who went through what they went through. And then, of course, you always have these slick individuals in the comments that are always worried about something else other than what's actually going on. Like this one individual calling themselves correcting the grammar of the person above them when we all knew what they meant to say. You can't edit tweets once you've posted them. So if you make a mistake, which you could have been trying to spell the right thing and then spell check corrected it for you and made it wrong, instead of actually being like, oh yeah, y'all are right, they took the time to look at something stupid and insignificant like an apostrophe that wasn't placed somewhere. That's what they chose to focus on instead of the actual issue. But everybody else restored a little bit of somebody's faith in humanity, because I have none at all. And we're basically saying, I don't see how you can sit up here and twist this woman's words when that was exactly what he did. He minimized what he went through and tried to label it something else. That's exactly what he said. Nobody took anything. Nobody put any words in his mouth. Nobody took anything out of context. That was exactly what he said, and he said it. And again, the only reason why he took it down allegedly is because of the backlash. I don't believe for one moment he felt wrong about what he posted, because if he did, he wouldn't have posted it to begin with. And again, this goes back to why people put him on this pedestal to begin with. 50 Cent was never some supporter of domestic violence victims. He's never been a supporter of assault victims. Just because he allegedly put together some documentary against P. Devil Combs, that means absolutely nothing. The only reason why he did this, and I'm stating this again, because I mentioned this in a previous video, is because he has beef with P. Devil Combs. That's the only reason why he put that together, because he wanted to be petty and immature like he always is. It's not because he actually cared about the victims and actually helping people, helping women and men who've been assaulted. That was never what that was about. He just wanted to get his lick back at P. Devil Combs. And before anybody tries to be goofy and defend him or say, oh, that's not the truth, this is the same 50 Cent who allegedly caught a domestic violence charge himself after putting hands, brutally, allegedly, on the mother of one of his children. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, he put hands on both of the mothers of his children, allegedly. And this is also the same 50 Cent who made the song with Neo, Have a Baby by Me and Be a Millionaire, but wanted to complain about child support, filing for custody of his child. Allegedly only because the woman wanted more money from him, because he wanted to get back at P. Devil Combs for her being involved with him, and to get back at her. You see the hypocrisy in all of this? See why I keep saying don't put these people on a pedestal? I said this before, I'm going to say it again. There is something seriously wrong with the Black community if, as a community, they will look over things that somebody has done just because they're a celebrity. Once again, another layer to the issue of this problem, the responses, concerning the responses. People couldn't just collectively say she was wrong. Women can be assaulters too. She needs to have charges pressed against her because what she did was wrong and disrespectful and illegal, because the last time I checked, it was illegal to just be out here grabbing people's nether regions for no reason without consent. But instead, you had people basically using this situation, his traumatic situation, once again, as a way to get their lick back, if you will, because of all the women who have came out and name men as their assaulters. Again, the community is sick in the head, disturbed, when it gets to a point where people are using people's traumatic experiences as a competition. Oh, well, the women are always coming out talking about they were assaulted. Once again, assault takes place a lot more often than what most people are going to want to accept. Nobody wants to accept the truth. They talk about, oh, we need to make spaces. We need to tell the truth. We need to talk about this. But when we actually start talking about it and getting down to the nitty gritty, past the surface level and the actual issues, like I said, the layers, people don't want to hear it anymore because it takes some serious self-reflection. Let me reiterate this. Some people were only happy about this situation. Happy, mind you. Wanting him to press charges only because it was a woman instead of a man this time. First of all, if anybody is upset because usually men are the ones who are perpetrating the violence, you need to take that up with the men who are perpetrating the violence. I've already acknowledged on this channel, and I'll do it again, that just because it's mostly men when it is these situations that are the abusers, that are the assaulters, does not mean that all men are abusers and assaulters. That is crazy to even push that kind of stereotype, generalization. Although to make it, once again, a competition and take people's pain and play with it like that is a level of disgusting that I've only ever seen in the Black community. As I've said before, if I'm going to talk about an issue, I'm going to talk about all aspects. I'm going to cover all bases. We're not getting away from anything whenever I'm talking about a subject, whenever I'm acknowledging a problem. Because I believe there's so much more, once again, other than the surface level that people love to dwell on, the ignorance that people have when it comes to these issues. But anyways, as I said before, I do think he should press charges because, once again, if it was a woman who had gotten groped in her nether regions, his career would be up in flames, like that woman said on Twitter. So I do believe he should press charges. The same thing that they do for the women to help the women get justice, they need to help him do. Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think about all of this down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all all have a very blessed, beautiful, and safe day.